Okay, so hi, welcome everyone again. So today we will review the materials for the second class of the week. Normally it will be the second week, uh, but we are double paced. So I hope you could catch up and get the materials for class one um, kind of nicely under your belt, so you can understand the tools and the motivation and the problems that we're going to address. Uh, Today we'll kind of dive into the actual principles and give some, I wouldn't say specifically instructions, because as any musical creation, you should be pretty free also to follow your own ideas, and you don't have to stick to, let's say, the preludes. I'll talk about musical prelude as a musical form that is very typical to opening scenes. And your first assignment, first creative assignment that we posted uh, at the end of last class on Monday, and we are posting assignments actually every Monday, so you have enough time, um, is an assignment to compose a small musical loop or segment that represents an opening scene for a game of your choice, in the sense of your imagination. You're not composing for an existing game. You just propose some idea of where you open your game in some kind of a setting, indoors, outdoors. Most likely it's outdoors, somewhere in the city or in the wild, in nature, and you want to create some kind of a mood. So one of the musical forms that relate to openings of other musical pieces, and of course, if these are dramatic pieces like operas and stuff, people talk about overtures, which is an opening. It's kind of a larger musical form, overture, just from the French ouvert or Italian, to open. But smaller openings are called preludes. So we'll talk about musical prelude and opening scenes. But before that, we kind of need maybe a little bit more of detailed set of uh, clues and tricks, if you want to have practices. Uh, when you study music in a very traditional way, you would say this is the theory, this is how music has to be done. But really, it's not. I mean, music, and we'll go through the class also as a way to survey different musical styles and how music develops. But notions of harmony, melody, rhythm are so dominant in Western music, and so dominant in popular music. And so a lot of musical games that use these types of composing techniques or this type of style use the composing techniques that come with this genre. So we'll talk about some kind of musical theory, basic principles, and then basic tools. So what we did today, we kind of like jumped through a lot of musical materials, but on a way that needs to paint a bigger picture here. And the picture is, well, here you are as a composer. You want to compose a scene for an opening of a game, and you think musically. Basically, what techniques from my musical theory I would use. And by trying this, those who are new to music theory, you'll be basic some basic principles of how you can think about constructing music or expressing yourself in sonic ways, in musical ways. Then the next thing will be, well, I need to put this into a game. So what are the software? What are the technical tools? So one unique thing about this class is that a video for games has to use technology. And we'll talk about tracker and sequencers that I'm used, which were kind of different steps or different techniques that facilitate a composer to work with technology so he can put his music inside a game. So this is kind of like the three topics of today, musical ideas, tools that enable these musical ideas, and then how to relate your musical ideas to a specific feel or mood, or the purpose of that music, what purpose it will serve in a game. So let's dive in a little bit into each one of them separately. So I think the best way to do this, so we can keep things short and easier to for people to watch offline, will be that I'll pause and restart things every time. So I'll just say another quick sentence about the terms and the reading materials before I kind of switch to each one of these three sections. The music theory made easy is kind of supplemental material, but it's supplemental, or it's more like an appendix or some kind of additional reference, because we will be using musical. It's very hard to talk about music without understanding, the common terms about notes and durations and timbre and pitch and stuff like that, and chords and harmony and rhythm. So I kind of try to make here a little dictionary or vocabulary of terms and explain them. Yeah, I mean, it cannot be a replacement for a music class, music theory 101. But I want to make sure that you understand these terms. So one of the quizzes here is about musical terms and harmony. I will not really go much into detail about this, just because I think once you read this and you know the terms, um, that this is the level I can expect of diving into musical theory. But as I said, I'll be available for discussion later on today. So if people have questions about music theory, I would advise maybe look into this part first in some sense, just to make sure that you're comfortable with these concepts, because I think I'll need to explain this depending on your previous musical background, while everything else is more self-contained, because it uses musical terms, but it explains some other I wouldn't say higher level, but like concepts on top of that, which are self-contained. So I'm less concerned about you being able to follow this and understand this on your own. But once you go to specific, like technical musical terms, that might be a little bit more demanding. So yeah, just try it out, and yeah, and let me know if you need any help with that. So so I'll stop the recording for the introduction section, and we'll move to each one of the sections. But between the recordings, I'll check the chat.